There is a lot of ways to talk to your customer. We're going to talk about the number one best way. I'm Ben. This is Building Business. We've got Jim Aline here. And if you think about the number one problem that contractors have, they may not even report that they think this is their problem, but it is in every single study we've looked at, communication.
Yep.
Communication is the number one. Internal communication, homeowner communication, all that kind of thing. So if you think about the typical contractor and the typical job, there are so many stakeholders. This is why contracting is so hard. You've got to deal with suppliers. You got to deal with homeowners. If you're doing insurance work, there's a whole set of adjusters and insurance related people that are involved in this. You got to deal with the city and permitting. You got to have your own employees and you have multiple teams trying to coordinate all over this one job. I can't think of a lot of other industries that have so many communication chances for things to break down. Contracting is a logistical nightmare in terms of communication. So let's talk specifically about marketing and communication to homeowners. What are the most effective ways to reach somebody? Is there a number one?
The number one in my mind is to communicate with them the way they want to be communicated with.
Okay.
So an example of this, if they message you on Facebook, message them back on Facebook. Mm-hmm. If they send you an email, of course, if they don't say, call me, right? If they text message you, right? So finding the preferred method of communication of your customer, that's the first thing I think of.
We did a research study on this, and we found that 93% of homeowners prefer text message, SMS communication once the job is sort of been won and is working in the process over any other communication means. It's their number one preference. And I think it's because the world has changed. Now everybody's on their phones and text messaging is the most likely thing to look at. A lot of younger people aren't even looking at email anymore.
No, even old people like us, Ben, aren't looking at email anymore.
I still look at a lot of email every day.
I do
it's just
too.
my job.
I'm a zero inbox person,
Same.
so I'm looking through all of them.
But I look at a lot of text
But that's my
messages
own
too.
problem. But open rates on emails, a good open rate on an email may be 30%.
Yeah.
Where text messages are 100% open rate.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the differentiator that you're talking about there. Those text messages, and it's simple communication, mm-hmm. right? Because it's on their phone. They're on their phone all the time. So that they're on their phone. They get the information that they need and they can move on with their day. I think that would be my interpretation of why people responded to that survey that way.
If you're not really familiar with some of the laws around text messaging, you might be hearing this and going, sweet, let's switch all our marketing over to texting. We're just going to text everybody. We meet somebody at home show, we're going to start texting them. Got to be careful about that. There's a lot of laws around this. Yep. What are the rules around marketing texting before you've actually had a customer sign up for a deal or something?
A lot of the times we'll have an opt-in box. If ask for a cell phone number and ask for would you want us to send you text messages?
But the law
right?
says you have to ask and opt in.
Yeah,
you can't just send it.
And you have to have a way for them to unsubscribe. Like the similar laws that have come into play for email are going into play for text messaging.
Yeah, it's a lot more dangerous with texting if you break the rules, because you have to go to a situation where you can actually get your company phone number shut down and your text will not get delivered and the carriers will actually shut you down. It's a huge mess. I mean, it's one thing to lose an email address and you have to do a new email, or your domain gets a little bit blacklisted and you can get back out of that. Yeah. It's another thing to lose your 1-800 call a roofer. And it's right. Like, we're in big trouble. So you got to be really careful about this.
Yeah.
But after you've gotten the opt-in, this is the way people want to receive communication primarily, is through text messaging.
It is. Text messaging is great. And that's where, like we had talked about in other shows around automation, and another show about automation, about how we design our inbound marketing funnels to have text and email and phone calls all built into that, because we're trying to communicate with them the way they want to be communicated with. And text, the responses on text are what happens most often.
Yep.
They do answer the phone. If they don't answer the phone, they'll text back, yeah, I'm available Thursday at 3. Can you have someone come out, right? And so the text messages we've found are very valuable in that communication.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's think about the cadence here. You've got somebody who's a lead, you're working with them, maybe you gave them a proposal, some kind of quote, and you're trying to get them to actually say yes and sign the deal so you can actually start ordering materials and that sort of thing. Is there a sweet spot? Like, a lot of people are like, I don't know, do I call them a day, every day? Can I call them 2 times a day? Is it 5 touches within the first 5 days? What's some of the rule of thumbs you've seen with some of the best of class contractors out there?
So I would say before signed contract, I see some of the contractors that have real stringent sales processes have up to 21 touch points in that process.
Wow. Now, are those all phone calls?
No.
Okay,
so
it's a mix.
It's a mix of everything. There are some phone calls. There are some text messages. There's some emails. There may be a piece of mail that goes to their home. It may be a letter. It may be that they send them a video of how the process works, or how this works, or how that works, right? So there's so many ways and things that you can send them. But in those touch points, the thing to always be thinking about is, are you providing value?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people just design it all as asks.
That's
hey,
right.
Are you ready to sign? Are you ready to sign? That just sounds like you're annoying. And what am I getting out of this? So it's like reinforcing the value. Remember, we're the number one so-and-so. Remember, we've been in business 23 years, and we just did your neighbor 2 doors down, and he gave us a 5-star review. These types of things are very, very impactful compared to, hey, just want to see. The worst texts or emails I ever get are from salespeople who are saying, just checking in, just want to follow up, just want to circle back. Please never use these words.
We know what that means.
The worst.
We all know what that means
exactly.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of doesn't mean anything.
No.
It's like sort of like, I got to think of something to say so I can bug them again.
That's right.
So they say, I'm circling back, Give me a reason for you to call me.
When we do things like that in our follow-up sequences, we use a formula called SPEAR, specific, personal, expecting a response.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. So it is specific. Maybe we're communicating and my assistant sends you a message. Hey, Jim wanted me to reach out and ask you about this. Mm-hmm. So it's specific, it's personal to you, and we're expecting a response. Yep. And so those are the types of things that we want to build into that communication, in those follow-ups, that make it not feel salesy. And
what's the A and R in SPEAR?
A response, expecting a response.
Expecting a response. Yep. Okay, got it.
EAR,
yep.
expecting a response. Mm-hmm. So specific,
sounds
personal.
Better than SPE.
Yes. Yeah. But that's those types of things. And again, we talked about automation and things like that. You can automate these types of conversations where it makes it not feel like an automated email that says, just following up.
I know.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, I don't think so. I totally agree that we need automation here, and you can do it. But it's not either or. It should actually be a little bit of both.
Yes.
It's like even the way we're building our texting tools right now is around like, okay, I make a one-on-one connection with somebody, and then when they say this word, then it can send this automated text back because I know they're asking about this thing, but it looks like I just texted. And then I do another text later that's a one-on-one communication, and the homeowner just feels like it's all one-on-one the whole way through.
That's right.
But it's actually a little bit of mix of both things.
A mix of both, yeah. And if you can get that mix right, that's powerful.
Yeah. It really makes it feel like you care, and it makes it feel like you're going to be the best contractor they've ever worked with. And you're like, I can't wait to give these guys a great review because look at how communicative they are.
And so a lot of times we don't think of looking outside of our businesses to bring these things into our business. So if you have a good experience at a restaurant, mm-hmm. think of why. You can incorporate some of those same principles into how you're communicating with your customer. If you go and buy a car and you had a great experience, think of why and how you had that great experience and bring that into the communication methods and of your company.
I feel like that's a great tip. The best business people I've ever worked with are the people that sort of notice something outside of their industry and their brain's like, oh, that's the same pattern as X or Y. And they bring that in and they adapt it. And they look like the most innovative people in the industry, but they're really just using other patterns from other places and making them their own.
Definitely.
Super cool. Thanks so much for joining us. You've got to go to jobnimbus.com/building business now. We've got a bunch of resources there. There's tips and tricks, there's industry insights, and all of it is free. So go and check it out right away. Job Nimbus is the best software tool to get you more organized, more efficient, and frankly, to give you your life back so you can have some life balance as you run your business.
For more information about roofer marketers, go to roofermarketers.com and get a copy of our free book, The Best Known Roofer, the omnipresent framework for your roofing company.